What are some of the innovations that you are seeing in DC trust-based pensions, and how are those going to advantage or benefit employers and employees?
So, I mean, it's a really interesting question because I think in the DC space in particular over the last couple of years, we have seen this innovation of this move to the master trust, which is where the innovation is largely happening. And it's interesting actually that's a place where the DB world is now heading as well. So the DC has very much been at the forefront of that, that consolidation piece, that move to a consolidated master trust. And the sorts of things that we've seen there up to now are things that have really benefited members. So, the ability to access benefits online, that kind of frictionless approach to being able to access your benefits, which is so important to people. Looking at the best, default options for, different sectors of society. And then also, the at-retirement piece. What we're finding really interesting at the moment is actually what's the next phase. And we think the next phase is all around decumulation and improving outcomes in the decumulation phase. So it's an area that we're focusing on at Isio quite substantively, really trying to push providers to innovate what they're offering there, whether or not that is sort of more flexibility, whether or not that's, sort of wraparound guaranteed income or alternative, annuity options. That's definitely what we see as the sort of the next big stage of innovation.
I completely agree, and we're seeing that among our members as well. What we're finding talking to employers is that focus on administration and particularly governance is becoming such a crucial focus for them. What would you say are the things that they should be thinking about, asking, pushing their providers and their consultants on in those areas?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I would say we're at a point now where there's more data and information available to employers, to clients, than there ever has been before. But actually, it's how do you use all of that information, all of that data that's coming away? Because I actually sit on Isio's DC governance committee for our own pension scheme, and we'll get a pack from our provider, which is sort of 70 or 80 pages long. And even as a professional, I think, well, what do I do with this? So it's about basically aligning your goals, what's important to you as an organisation in terms of your workforce, member outcomes, and making sure that you're getting the right information about that. So, are you finding out information that's going to support you in workforce planning? Does that data exist, or do you need to find out more information? What do member outcomes genuinely look like? Because one of the interesting challenges that we often see is a difference between the service level agreement and what you might see in terms of responsiveness from a provider, and actually what the member then experiences. So actually understanding that end-to-end process, what the member outcome looks like, is really important.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that as well, as what that final goal is not what it used to be.
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of employers have worked with their consultant, the provider, quite a long time, and they say to me, how do I know I'm getting the best from them?
Yes.
And it's just interesting to hear your view of how they can ensure they're getting the most out of those relationships.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because I think one of the good things about where we are in the industry at the moment is there's much more collaboration than there ever has been before, and it's so critical to success for members and employers. So I think firstly that needs to be regular communication. Secondly, it needs to be open communication. There's no point in hiding things that are actually going to enable you to get a better outcome for your members and for you as an employer. I think that the piece around how do you make sure you're still getting the best that's available, that's really about being challenging. So not being afraid to ask the challenging questions. What are your innovations? What does your roadmap look like? Where are we on the path for you to deliver that for us? And making sure that that's a regular topic of conversation. It's not just something that might happen once a year to satisfy a risk register. Regular discussion about how is what your provider is giving you, how is that aligning with your workforce and your membership?
And given the amount of innovation, change that's happening in the market, there's lots of fantastic things being done out there.
Yeah.
So, those relationship with your consultant and your provider, both of them, is so crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I said, that almost working together as a team. I think we're definitely moving, and we have moved in many ways to that space where, particularly the clients that we work with, we're seen as an extension to their team. And actually, you collaborate in that way and you get the best outcomes for everyone in the long run.